Yeah, I know. I came back. It's been a little while since I gave you guys an update on my life, so it's time I give you guys a quick update on all the crazy things that are going on with my life and to talk about the elephant in the room, why I decided to come back to California, especially after making it such a big deal that I was leaving California in just a couple of weeks. So let's clear it up here because I've always told you I want to be super transparent with you guys with everything and anything that I do. That way you guys can see reality. And not only you guys that watch these videos, whom I really appreciate that you guys actually watch these videos, but also to my future family, future generations who are going to see these videos 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 years from now. So let's stop wasting time and just jump right into it. Great, so for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna catch you guys up a little bit. Back in October in 2022, a big hurricane had just hit Florida. It was called Hurricane Ian. And it was one of the biggest hurricane disasters that we have had here in a while.
We begin with the devastation across Florida. The death toll is climbing from Hurricane Ian as many neighborhoods are still flooded. Hundreds of thousands are still without power and some are still stranded.
And considering that I'm a contractor, it was supposed to be a big gold rush for us. So I decided to do what we like to call in our industry, which is becoming a storm chaser. Except for me, I was really trying to move out there permanently. And the reason why I was considering moving over there was because of the high cost of living here in California, which if you were thinking about leaving California for the exact same reason, I would suggest you stay to the end of the video because I will be covering the cost of living and everything that went through my head on why I decided to come back. So to make things simple, there's 5 reasons why I decided to come back to Los Angeles. The first reason was because of the high cost of living at the luxury level. What do I mean by that? Well, for me, my next goal is to move into some luxury apartments. It's been my goal for the last couple of months now, and that's what I'm striving for. Except here in Los Angeles, it can get really expensive. I left to Florida because I thought that I was going to get that way of living at a much cheaper rate. So when I went to Florida, I actually toured a lot of different cities, all the way from Tampa to Orlando to Fort Myers. I went all over the state of Florida. And I actually visited some luxury apartments while I was there. But when I looked at the cost of these luxury apartments, they came out to about $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the amenities that you wanted in your apartment, which I thought was crazy because this was the same cost that it would have cost me back in LA. And that's when I realized that the way of living for me, when it comes to luxurious living, it's a different ball game, and it doesn't matter where I lived. Here in LA, you can rent out a luxury apartment for $3,000 to $5,000 as well, depending on the amenities. And looking at the cost of all of this, it finally hit me that when it comes to luxury living, it doesn't matter where you live. And trust me, I know I could have figured all of this out by just going on Zillow and looking at rent prices before I actually flew out there. But I also wanted to see the neighborhood, meet some people, meet the locals, and see what it's like to actually live in Florida and see the weather as well, to see if I can actually fit in. And while I was traveling throughout the whole entire state, there was really only one city that struck out to me, which was Tampa, which was nowhere even close to where I was working at. Which brings me to the second reason, coming out there for the gold rush. I want to start off by saying that Hurricane Ian was a really big storm. I still remember the first day that I landed there. It was the day right after they had just opened the airports. It was a couple of days after the hurricane just hit. It felt like I was in a war room. I've never seen anything like it. All the buildings and everything was crushed by the storm. I was shocked. I couldn't even get cell service. That's how bad it was. And my prayers still go out to the people of Florida because I know a lot of people who weren't able to recover from that storm. So many people were left homeless because of it. Heck, while I was there, I even had a homeowner who cried to me in her home because the cost to rebuild her house was more than the cost of her home. She lost everything that she ever had. It was sad. And she wasn't the only one. There was many more people just like that. Hopefully things are better now. So my prayers do go out to the people of Florida first. But because of that storm and many other storms that have came through Florida, the construction world is not the same anymore. It's not a gold rush as it once was. The laws have been changing because of the many storms that have occurred here in Florida. And a lot of precautionary measures have been taken by insurance companies. A lot of new laws came into effect while I was there, and the gold rush just wasn't the same anymore. You see, in this industry of construction, it's a shady one to be in. That's why it's really important that you are well connected, or else you will get stabbed in the back. I have lost a lot of money being in this industry. Heck, I even lost $10,000 while I was out there in Florida. And that's why I really left. You see, I went out there on a whim, hoping that the person that I decided to work for was legit, honest, and was actually going to pay me. While I was there, I sold 10 jobs for him, and I haven't seen a penny from this guy since. Being conservative, he owes me about $6,000 all the way up to $15,000, money of which I've already given up on. While I was there, I knew something was up, so I had to switch companies mid-trip to join someone else's company because I just felt like I wasn't gonna get paid there. And the company that I decided to move to was even worse. It wasn't that it was a bad company, it was the fact that they were barely expanding to Fort Myers, so I was just there early. Thinking back about my whole entire trip, my mistake was that I left to Florida too early. I was just there before anything was really going to happen. Everyone was just figuring things out. Insurance companies were backed up. Homeowners were scared to do anything. I was just there too early. If anything, I should have flown out there in February, which is about this time. Which brings me to my third reason. You see, here in LA, I'm already making 6 figures. I have worked my ass off to build the network that I have here. And going to Florida allowed me to see all of that. It allowed me to see that the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. When I was in Florida, I was starting from ground zero. No car, no home, no friends. That thing sucked. Here in Los Angeles, if I really think about it, I kind of have it made. I know a lot of people who would love to trade places with me if they could. Not to toot my own horn, but I kind of have it made out here. I'm actually making it out here in LA. And considering everything that I had to go through to just build something here, why would I put myself in a position to start all over? It just didn't make sense. I was better off just coming back to LA and doubling down on everything. Figuring out a way to triple my income here. And I think I figured out a way to do that. It's just a matter of time before all the puzzle pieces fall in place. The fourth reason I came back was because of the cost of living. See, I thought it was gonna be cheaper going out to Florida. But my situation is different from a lot of other people's. And the only thing that was really cheaper was the gas. Food cost was the same. Rent was about $200 to $400 cheaper. Getting a haircut was about the same. The cost for entertainment, like going to the theaters, eating out, doing things, was about the same. Everything was almost the same. But the reason for this is that my situation is a little different. And this doesn't apply to everyone. You see, a lot of people don't know that I'm an independent contractor, meaning I'm working off as a 1099 employee and not as a W-2 employee. So I pay taxes at the end of the year, not on every single paycheck that I get. I actually have a pass-through corporation that helps me lower my tax bill every single year. So for me, taxes aren't that bad considering I live here in California, according to how my accountant has my things set up. But I know some of you might not have a similar case. You see, one thing that people don't know is that the state of Florida doesn't have any state income tax compared to California, where it can go all the way up to 40%. Which is why for the average person, if you are on W-2, moving to Florida might actually be beneficial for you. Not only will you take advantage of the smaller tax code, but considering the fact that rents were a lot cheaper, between $200 to $400 cheaper compared to LA, it might benefit you by being able to increase your way of living. But for me as a 1099, it just didn't really make sense. Plus, I'm at a point in my life where I don't like to nickel and dime anymore. 200 and 400 bucks isn't gonna break me compared to like 1 to 2,000 bucks. I came to the conclusion that figuring out a way to make more money here in California was just a better route for me. Lastly, the reason why I decided to come back to LA was because Florida just didn't suit my personality. You see, I try to be a little conservative with my spending because of where I'm at in my point in life. But deep down, I know I'm a little bougie. I love dressing nice. I love nice cars. I love nice apartments. Heck, I even like these nice little cafes that we have. And while I was traveling through Florida, there just wasn't many places like here in LA where they have that modern hipster look. While I was there, I just felt like I didn't fit in, like these weren't my people. You see, people say that people in LA care about how they look and their appearances and how they dress. And now that I really think about it, that's actually true. Because when I was in Florida, it was a completely different ball game. We're really like that. It's true what they say. I guess it's an LA thing, right? Which now explains to me why when I do travel, people can right off the bat just know that I'm from California. Maybe it's the way I dress, maybe it's the way I talk, I don't know, you guys can tell me. But this isn't the first time that I've noticed all of this. You see, I've been trying to leave California for quite some time now. I've gone to other states to see what it would be like if I lived there. And now I've come to the conclusion that there's no other place like LA. We have everything here and there's no other place like it. To be quite honest with you, all these other states, they have nothing to do out there. Like, it's so boring out there. When I travel and I meet these people from all over the states, they always tell me that it's boring where they live, that they have nothing to do. And I guess that's why LA is still one of those cities that everyone wants to travel to, because there's just no other place like it. Not to mention that our weather is just so much better than everyone else's. Even though I went through hell while I was in Florida, sleeping on couches, sleeping on other people's beds, sleeping with ants, losing thousands of dollars, I honestly wouldn't have changed anything. I would have still have gone because I learned really valuable lessons while I was there. I'm really glad that I made that trip because even though I lost financially, I gained mentally. This trip allowed me to see the world in such a better way. I now know that I should be humble at everything that I have and to be happy at where I'm currently at, because there's a lot of people in this world who would wish to be in the position that I currently am. And I'm lucky. I'm a lucky person to have everything that I currently have. And if I just double down and strive to be better here in LA, I can double, triple my income even more here and win here in LA where everyone wants to win. I'm really well connected. I should take advantage of everything that I have in LA and just go all in. So that's the reason why I came back to LA, because I don't want to start from ground zero. I have it made. I can build on what I currently have. And if I do this strategically, which I've been currently doing since the beginning of the year, I will get to where I want to be at. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, leave a comment below. If you did find some value, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.